The FBI arresting a young, low-ranking Air National Guardsman yesterday for the huge leak of top-secret Pentagon documents online. His name is Jack Teixeira. He's 21 years old. He will appear today in federal court. News helicopters captured the moment that an FBI SWAT team arrested him at his mother's house in Massachusetts. You can see Teixeira walking backward with his hands on his head before agents take him into custody with their guns drawn. He was an IT specialist for a military intelligence unit on Cape Cod. U.S. officials tell CNN he was also the leader of a small private online group of video gamers where hundreds of highly classified U.S. intelligence documents were posted before they spread on social media. The leaks were seriously damaging. They were embarrassing for the United States. They included highly classified intelligence about the war in Ukraine and exposed how the U.S. spies on our own allies. We just heard from the Kremlin a short time ago. Vladimir Putin's spokesman says Russia is thoroughly examining all of this leaked information. So let's learn a lot more about this with CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller and CNN White House correspondent Arlette Saenz. Guys, thank you very much for being here. John, let me go to you first. You have more reporting on how this was all planned and executed to arrest him.
This was a thing where this came together in 5 days, Poppy. I mean, this is like lightning speed
Fast.
For an espionage case. But when they figured out who they were going after and where he was, you know, there's numerous pictures of him online with, you know, automatic weapons, assault weapons. So, you know, going into the house against a trained military person, you know, where weapons are known to be there, was not their first option. They wanted him to go to work that day, get into a controlled environment, have him called down to the boss's office, sit down and say, you know, we're the FBI, you're under arrest. But the New York Times showed up at his door. His name was published in the paper online. Things sped up. And the Boston field office of the FBI made the call, which is, okay, no more waiting. We're not going to hit the house either. We're going to do a surround and call out. You see that armored vehicle come down. You see the agents flank the house. They set a perimeter. And then a hostage negotiator calls into the house and says, my name's Bob. Jack, listen, we need you to come outside now. We need you to do it just this way. Once you come out the door, have your hands up, you know, and then follow the verbal instructions of the agents. Yeah. And when he came out, they could see he's unarmed, he's complying.
Can I ask you this, John? Look, they're going to arrest him, they're going to do the thing, right? Police have their procedures, the FBI. How on earth? That is a question that everybody at home is asking.
Okay, finish the
How
question.
on earth did a 21-year-old low-level person get access to classified documents that have worldwide ramifications? It is mind-boggling.
It's a great question, but there's a great answer.
Okay.
So where he works, not a place that people usually talk about, the 102nd Intelligence Wing. What's an intelligence wing? Mm-hmm. Those are the people who fly the drones. They're the people who are supporting the Delta Force and the Navy SEALs and regular warfighters in zones all around the world where they need that ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and where they use those weapons, Predator drones, Reaper drones, Hellfire missiles, Javelins. And that means you don't know what theater you're going to be operating in as things around the world shift. So you need access to a lot of intelligence. But who is he? Mm-hmm. He's not a pilot flying the drones, although as a gamer, he probably was at home. At work, his job was really network engineering, which is making sure that that network that's taking in those pictures and that audio and that cyber data that they're stealing out of the airwaves is all working and connecting, which, of course, he's trained for. But to be good at it, he needs to have wide access through the system, because if something is going wrong here or there, then it's a question of, okay, where's the audit system to see why is he downloading this? Why is he printing that? And a lot of that is how they got to him, which is when was he working? What classified printer was it sent to? So there's pieces here. But there are thousands of kids like him who have just joined the military, who have enormous responsibility and trust, and who do a terrific job.
Well, let's talk about the president. He's traveling overseas in Ireland, but he was asked about this. Here's what he said in terms of his level of concern, which I should note is not a great level of concern about what was leaked. Here it is.
There's a full-blown investigation going on, as you know, with the intelligence community and the Justice Department, and they're getting close. I'm not concerned about the leakages, and I'm concerned that it happened. But there's nothing contemporaneous that I'm aware of that is of great consequence.
What more do you know about this behind the scenes from your reporting?
Yeah, you know, the president right there really tried to downplay the severity of this leak, but you can't deny that it is of great consequence, the fact that these leaks actually happen. And we know that the administration top officials have been working throughout the week trying to reassure allies about who might be concerned about the fact that intelligence from the U.S. has gotten out there on the internet to the wide public. We know that Blinken has spoken with his people in Ukraine. They've also spoken to unnamed allies so far. But what we're also going to see play out in Washington over the coming weeks and months is these just reviews, and there's certainly going to be congressional hearings into how exactly the Pentagon handles this type of classified information. We know that Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary, said they're going to review how they deal with classified intelligence access. But it certainly has been an embarrassing moment for the country to just have the world know that once again, there has been a leak. And we've seen this repeated over and over when you think back to Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning. And so there are some safeguards that probably need to be put in place to ensure things like this don't happen.
I bet there's some scrambling going on at the upper levels going, okay, now who's this person? Who's this person? Who has access to this? I'm sure they're
going to call down those lists, but you know the operational people are still going to need it.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you, Arlette.
Fascinating. Thanks.